It's amazing that people can go that long and all of a sudden I'm in retirement and then it dawns on me that I may run out of money or, do I need to cut back or can I spend more? Why wait till the last minute, Peter?
And welcome into Financial Focus, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services, as named by the readers of the Lake City Reporter. 10 straight years and running for their financial and retirement planning services. They are the team from GulfCoast Financial Services, and founder and CEO John Kuykendall here with us as always, keeping us financially focused. John, this week talking about several of the biggest topics, the most important questions for retirement planning, why they are such big questions, and then what we as proactive planners, savers, and investors need to do about them. There are several topics that seem to be at the top of people's radars and at the top of the list when looking at the problems, the issues, the questions of retirement planning. Number one seems to be, how much do I need to retire? Right? That's sort of the universal question with no answer, isn't it?
Well, it is, Peter, but it's amazing that people can work for 20 or 30 years and know that they're getting paid every 2 weeks or month, and that's the amount of money they need to live on. And then all of a sudden we get to retirement and they don't understand how much money do I need. I was talking to a client this morning. I actually got him to prepare a budget so we could sit down and look at exactly how much he needed because he was afraid that he was going to run out of money. And so what we had to do was put that budget together and then plan on how we were going to draw the money out, how we were going to spend it. It's amazing that people can go that long and all of a sudden I'm in retirement and then it dawns on me that I may run out of money or, do I need to cut back or can I spend more? Why wait till the last minute, Peter?
The question of how much do I need to retire or planning for retirement really should begin on the very first day that we work. But the answer is going to be different for each individual person, right, John?
Oh yeah, Peter, I've got some people that can retire on 3,000 a month. I've got some people that need 15,000 a month. It just depends on your lifestyle and what you want out of retirement and how you've set yourself up as we go along. And you're right, Peter. It's hard to plan in the early years because we have kids, we have expenses, and those expenses eventually go away, hopefully. Sometimes some of those expenses come back. The kids rebound, back to the house. But we need to understand that before we get to retirement, we need to come up with an income plan. We've said this over and over again on the show, Peter. The income plan is the key to retiring. Because as I showed that individual this morning, his income plan and where we were going to be and how we were going to get the money, he was amazed. And a light bulb all of a sudden came on and he said, well, I'm going to be okay. And I said, yeah, you should be okay.
Yeah, that's reassuring for that individual. But for a lot of us, this question goes unanswered when it seems so apparent why it's important. How much do I need to retire? Well, underestimating those retirement needs leads to running out of money. Overspending is an unnecessary stress and risk. So, John, when you talk about this financially focused written retirement income plan, what all goes into that? What does it consist of? What do we need to input and what is the output?
Well, what we're looking for, Peter, first is we're looking for income. So we're looking at predictable, sustainable income, Social Security, pensions, life insurance policies that are paying out. Anything that you have that's going to give us a monthly income or an annual income, we're going to put that in. We're going to look at your age, your health, what healthcare costs are a big part. We're going to look at your lifespan. We're looking at inflation. We're looking at investment performance and lifestyle choices. We're going to ask you as we go into this plan, what major purchases would you like to make and when would you like to make them so that we can put them into the plan? If you're going to buy a boat, we want to add that. If you're going to need a new car, we want to put that in. Are you going to need a camper or motorhome? What do you plan to do during your retirement? And then we're going to put all that together and we're going to come up with an income plan that's going to show us how we can provide you a predictable, sustainable income and how we're going to finance your income needs over your retirement.
This is like the essential question to answer, right? And most of us
Yeah.
don't have a great answer or feel for this. That's what the planning process is really all about. That's going to help us to address this question and things like other top questions that come in as the most frequently asked questions of retirement. When should I take my Social Security? That question will be answered as a result of the planning that it takes to address question number one.
Right. We're going to look at Social Security and we're going to say, okay, in order to make up the income that we need in the early years, as you're growing, as you're working on growing the bucket, your growth bucket, we may need to take Social Security from one of the two, if there's a couple, or we need to take it from both. But we'll add that into the plan, and then over the life of the plan, it will work out so that all of that is maximized based upon what your needs are. Some people want to, we can take the money at 70. Some people we need to draw it at 65 or 62. Some people will have one spouse draw and the other spouse not draw. It just works out with that plan that we're going to try to maximize your Social Security, minimize your taxes, and work through an income plan.
Yeah, creating income while paying as little in tax, probably a pretty universal goal, right?
Well, the two things we want, Peter, is we don't want to run out of money and we don't want to pay any more taxes than we have to.
Yep. Uh, should I pay off my house, or do I need to have a paid off house to retire confidently? John, this also ranks as one of the top asked questions about planning for retirement. Again, this kind of goes into that financially focused written retirement blueprint.
Well, that's right, Peter, because, if I retire and I'm on Medicare and I want to pay my house off and we pull a bunch of money out, that's going to affect my Medicare Part B premiums and, the IRMA that I'm going to end up paying. So it makes a difference. Also, more taxes. We can throw you into a bigger tax bracket. So we want to make sure that one, we have enough money to live on, and two, that we maximize what we do with the money that we have. And that's the only way we can do it is through the income plan. So we don't want to create any more taxes and anything else for you. But at the same time, if we have the money and it's available and the mortgage is at a high interest rate, then we may want to try to pay it off.
Another one, John, and this feels like it's the same question asked a different way, or maybe it's related with a slightly different angle. But how do I avoid running out of money? I guess even if we had answered the first question, how much do I need to retire confidently? If things go wrong, we can still run into issues with running out of money. So how do we avoid it, right? We've got enough. Now, how do we keep enough, I guess?
Well, nobody knows how long we're going to live or how the market's going to behave. And with healthcare costs going up and continuing to rise, it's really difficult to say that you're not going to run out of money. But running out of money means drastically reducing your lifestyle. So you may have a very lavish lifestyle right now, and you may want to pay off that house, or you may want to buy that $250,000 boat. But we may not be able to do that. We may have to cut back to a bass boat instead of a yacht, and we may have to cut back to a different, smaller house. But those things we can accomplish them with the income plan over the life of your retirement. And don't forget, Peter, I say this over and over. I told the guy this morning, there are 3 phases to retirement. Tom Hagnia says this all the time. We have the go-go years. Those are the first years of retirement when I'm going to travel, I'm going to spend money, I'm going to go dancing, I'm going to do all the things. Then the next phase is the slow go. I'm still going to go, but I'm not going every night. I'm not going to take long trips. 3 days, 4 days away from the house is all I want. And so then finally the no-go. And as I look at my father and my parents, that was exactly what happened. It got to the point near the end that, the last 5 or 6, 10 years of Dad's life, all he wanted to do was sit in his recliner and watch Westerns. And so that was great if that's what he wanted. So we're going to spend money, but we're going to phase into this. And if we use that lifestyle, that income plan that we talk about as a lifestyle and as a method to create the lifestyle you want, then we can adjust that as we go forward. And Peter, it will keep us in check.
Well, that $250,000 boat is still floating in my mind, John. Something tells me a $250,000 boat isn't as much boat as I think it should be. They're probably out there on the water right now, and I'm like, oh, that one that we just passed.
Have you checked the price of a bass boat lately?
I have not. I've not been in the market for boats, but probably won't be for a while if they're anything like that.
I think in the Bass Pro magazine, they're close to $85,000-$90,000.
All right, so we need to formulate our answer to this question to know if a boat is in there, and perhaps it is not if we want to be confident and avoid running out of money. But what does go into answering this, John? I know, the investments that we hold, how much capital we have, what are in those retirement accounts, how have we used Social Security, but how do you bring all of those things together?
Well, through that life plan that we're putting together, that income plan, what we're going to do is we're going to take the assets. We're going to come up with just income coming in. We're going to come up with a growth bucket so that we can be in the market, we can grow, but we're not dependent on the market. We're going to put all that together, Peter, so that we can grow past inflation by utilizing our assets and by keeping taxes in check. So those are all the things that we want to do as we go forward. And that income plan just brings it all together and makes it so simple for people to see. It's unreal.
Well, each of these questions touch on a critical aspect of retirement readiness. It requires careful consideration, attention, and planning. And then to have a plan put together to continue living life with confidence retired. And if you would like to have that financially focused written retirement income plan, if you would like to have these questions addressed with the help of an experienced team of qualified professionals, pick up the phone, give a call to GulfCoast Financial Services, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. John, you touched on it at the beginning of the program. I'm going to circle back to it. During our working career, this all seems simple. We show up to work. We are the horsepower that answers and addresses these questions. The day after we retire, we've got to have a plan for how to fill the need that we once worked for.
Well, that's right, Peter. It's amazing to me that people retire and they're trying to figure out, well, how am I supposed to live now? And so that's the reason that we're afraid that we're going to run out of money, we're going to overspend, is because we don't have a plan. But, with the guaranteed income sources, the annuities, the pensions, Social Security, long-term care planning, the expense management, the ongoing monitoring and flexibility of the plan, we can make that very simple for people and let them understand how they're going to live during retirement.
Well, it seems many trying to be proactive with their money and their planning still have many questions about these. These were a list of the most commonly searched questions about retirement planning. These are just a few of the ones that popped up at the top. But at GulfCoast Financial Services, they help savers and investors better determine your outcome, ladies and gentlemen, by having that financially focused written retirement plan, as well as the book. Quitting is for winners, but retirement is not for wimps. Both of those are available. If you give GulfCoast Financial Services a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. Get the plans in your hands to answer these questions and more, ladies and gentlemen, for all the years moving forward, the financially focused written retirement income plan there at GulfCoast Financial Services. John, always a pleasure. We appreciate the time and the answering and addressing of these top questions of retirement.
Thank you, Peter. They're so simple, but so difficult for so many people.
Be sure
And
to
if they'll
like,
just come in, we'll be
subscribe,
glad to help.
share,
Thank
and
you.
tune in
Have a
for
good week.
more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. has been named as Best of the Best since 2015 in the category of Best Financial Advisor in the Lake City, Florida area. The award was based on receiving the most votes in this category from a survey offered and tabulated by the Lake City Reporter. No direct or indirect compensation was provided to the Lake City Reporter and/or any raters, and the award is not contingent on future direct or indirect compensation offered to the newspaper and/or raters. Portfolio performance is not a criterion, and voting is open to any readers of the newspaper.